Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to our last, at least for the moment, discussion of Alien Earth. We are talking the finale, episode 8, The Real Monsters. And joining me as always, my own favorite little monster here, it's Rob Stone.
Yeah. I wish I had a second mouth sometimes. Walk up to, that'd be a really interesting day at the grocery store. Customer comes up, asks me for something, and I just something.
It's how I like to eat my melons, just hold them right there.
Yep.
So yeah, big episode, big finale. Honestly, I loved every little bit of this. To me, this was a perfect continuance of last week's episode. I thought the pacing was nice. I think there were smart choices made very quickly and succinctly, which I really enjoyed. We got some great personality bits with the Lost Boys and changes there. And I think they set up for a beautiful options for season 2. They made the one choice so many other shows don't, is they kept most everyone alive. All of your main characters are alive, messed up, maybe a broken back or so. But I love the fact that we have those options going forward. That it can really go in so many different directions, and honestly, we said that our eventual discussion of this show, or our rating of this show, is going to hinge on how they hit the landing. Victory, in my mind, forgives almost all of the sins, except I still think episode 5 was completely unnecessary. But that's me. Rob, how did you take this finale?
Yeah, we had to see all of the first season to really step back. I mean, we were able, we're the first few episodes, right? Set up so many themes, so many things to chew on of what this show is about and what it's going to be about. And then some stumbles there that really said, okay, we're at a point where we have to. I'm complaining too much about a show I like. This has got to be at the end of this. And standing back now, it's still a really solid season, I'm now can the slightly stuff that I had a problem with is paying off. And it doesn't bother me as much now that they're becoming, because of all the things that happened to them. Mm-hmm. Now they're becoming stronger characters.
Right.
And each in their own way now are going to go forward because of what the adults on this island and people like Morrow and Synths have been doing to them. And I do wish that they committed, everyone lived, right? Everyone in the main cast lived except for, here's the thing, Arthur's dead, but he ain't gone.
Yeah, that's true.
So even the actor that plays Arthur, he's not gone. He's going to have some really interesting shit to do. But our soldiers, they're all, except for one. It is all basically been killed off. And I really wish that there had been some kind of one more commitment to something harder as we go into what will probably be a couple of years hiatus.
Yeah.
So, or at least something really strong happening, because even the fight between Kirsch and Morrow, as good as it is, it's still one of those superhero fights where they basically end in a tie.
True. You know?
And so it felt like the show went a little soft to keep everybody alive. I really wish that there was something that really punched you in the face as far as we're still gonna take somebody out. But that's a nitpick, and it makes it more. It does make it interesting to see where each of these characters can go going forward. And again, the waiting is going to be the hardest part.
Yeah, let me touch on that real quick, because as of this recording, at least from the research that I have done, this has not been officially renewed for a season 2. However, it currently, I think, has a 95% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is higher than both Alien and Aliens. So critically, at least, people are thinking this is some of the top-notch stuff. It's definitely in my top 3. I don't know if I'd put it above those 2, but I will put it in that grouping. Um, uh, now, apparently FX was bullish with the series even ahead of it debuting. FX head John Landgraf said in 2024 that they preferred that Hawley write 2 seasons of this before he returns for a 6th season of Fargo. So I think we can pretty much guarantee that there is going to be at least one more season of this, if not more. But as you said, this being streaming and that renewal not having been already noticed or put out there, you're looking for a year and a half, 2 years possibly before we get the next season, which honestly just sucks ass.
Well, I mean, I don't want to continue our conversation that started last week with the cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, jump in.
And then everybody dumping their Hulu, including myself. And I have not gone back, by the way. I have not unpaused or uncanceled that. Mostly because, well, not just because of all that, but because after they raised the prices.
Yes, thank you. That is exactly another thing. Yeah, my wife is on the same boat. She does not want us to renew this. You know, we're done at the end of the month, I think, is when our monthly payment goes off, and I've got a bundle, so this drops a few things. But yeah, and to be honest, there's really nothing I watch on Hulu. This was it. I think I've watched The Old Man also, but most of the old shows they have, I've either already watched them and don't care to watch again, or I'm not interested in them. Disney, I don't think, has really done a whole lot of offerings. I guess they dropped Marvel Zombies, which I don't care about, and apparently neither does anybody else from what I hear. So I don't think there's a lot in the offering. And yeah, when they turn around and are like, oh, we're going to up these by $3 each and $4 here and this stuff, it's like, why am I paying you $20 a month for an occasional show to watch?
And
you know,
to my point being, like, why I'm even bringing this up is because if you want it, Disney or Hulu, FX, whatever, it's Disney.
Yeah.
If you want to try to get people back, you better greenlight this show. You better make a big production of announcing a second season. And not just that, but when the second season finally comes out, you should already say that the third season's greenlit, because you've got some problems and you're going to need people to be coming to your service again. Because that, you know, when I think about shows not getting renewed, it's all about the numbers. It always was, but like in streaming, it's different. You can be canceled a week after you're dropped. You can be, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
So the word of mouth and all that might not mean anything to them if the numbers aren't there. And if they've seen a plunge in their numbers, then how can they tell whether or not this show's any good if so many people just suddenly dropped?
And that is, I think, an excellent example of the power of the people. Because it was everybody dropping their Hulu, dropping their Disney Plus subscription, and putting in the remarks, I'm doing this for Jimmy Kimmel, got their attention. Their stock dropped. People unsubscribed. They saw the money loss, and they turn around and said, no, we're going to bring them back, and everything's going to be great. Oh, and by the way, look, Grogu. If you notice, they dropped the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer immediately after that, too. So, I mean, they are working to try and get people back. But corporations will not stand up to power. They won't. This is a perfect example. It's great that they brought him back. But again, that's only because they're responding to the power of people to push back. I'm doing a big thing on our upcoming podcast, The Outer Rim, on fascism. And one of the things that I brought up in my research is a little bit of the Red Scare. If anybody remembers, this is the big communist scare back in the 50s. Joseph McCarthy, huge push, which disrupted a huge swath of the American population. And Hollywood, as tough as they were, buckled immediately to the pressure of having people being accused of communism and immediately started changing programming and stuff. You think that they're strong. You think that they have the money and thus they have the power to stand up for ideals. But if we've seen from CBS caving to Disney doing this right here, the minute that power threatens their money, they will cave. And the only way to keep them from that is to push back from the other direction. And that is us as the people writing and unsubscribing and doing an actual pushback.
Yeah, that's why I'd like to encourage people to not, if you've canceled your Hulu and your Disney and your ESPN, don't go back.
Yeah.
Don't go back. They gave you Jimmy Kimmel. They never should have gotten rid of him. This is not extra punishment. This is the same punishment. And this is how you mete it out. Is to stay strong and put the pressure on financially even stronger. So what? You brought him back. You're not going to take him off now. So now's the time that we push even harder. Don't go back yet. Do not give in. Don't let the jingling keys in front of you like a little kid lure you back yet. Because they will, this will always keep happening. And it's something that we have to strive for continuously. We have to remind them who holds the real power. And that's just our spiel. I didn't mean to get off onto this. It felt right talking about why they haven't brought it back. And I just felt it kind of correlates into how we get shows like this back. We got to make them they've got to think of ways, because it's always going to be a trick. No matter what, it's just another way to get you to loosen up. But
and as an audience, you have the right to convey your needs, desires, wants to the providers. Okay, support great shows like this. Do the social media and the write-ins and reviews like this and things where you talk about it that build the momentum and show that people want to see this and this is something worth spending on. On the other hand, also push back when they do things that you don't like.
Yeah.
And it's important. Be respectful, but be clear and communicative. And you can do a lot. Maybe one of us, not a whole lot, but there's like millions of us.
Together we are mighty.
Right. So, on that note, let's drop back to the show. As I said, I really enjoyed a lot of this episode, and I love one of the things that really got me, much like last episode, is we get a lot of quick decisions and quick actions that really show what's going on. We get to see Arthur's body in the very beginning, and the alien looking for us, and then we're gone. And that's the little Easter egg. That's the Chekhov's body, if you were. That this is something that we are going to visit back to later on. And I gotta say, I enjoy the warrior loose out in the jungle. I had mentioned last week that I thought that it might be sick because of the discoloring on its head. I have read somewhere where some people are thinking that that is a natural camouflage, that it is adapting to its environment. I love that idea. And I would have to say it's probably most likely that, since no other comment has been made about the look of the alien or its health or anything else. And Wendy, who has its connection, certainly hasn't seemed to acknowledge any issue with it. So Cool. Adaptive camouflage, another great thing for our alien warrior.
And remember when we were like, we don't want these things to be like given anything, but you know what? They figured out a way to do it.
They did, because it's still an animal. It's still this, but it's like our psychopath. And I have to say, it did get me.
It's being directed against the right people. It is not just loose, causing chaos like in normal alien movies where anybody is at it can be its victims. It's focused attacks. It is what if Ripley could have done this in Aliens, or in Alien 3 or something,
Oh yeah. I mean, that would have been
or actually Alien Resurrection would have been the time to do it, because she's a clone and who knows.
Right. And she had some little connection, but not anything obviously like this.
Yeah.
And I love that they've built on the fact that they've already established that her hearing is ultrasonic and higher before anybody can hear. So even though we are seeing her doing the clicks and hearing that, we can easily, suspend that this is some ultra high frequency, which is why it's able to get so far and so distant to be able to speak to the creature out there. Again, I think it's that little bit of groundwork that really pays off with this, because I'm not like, oh, how is she doing that just whispering to herself? I don't have to think that at all. It automatically, kind of conveys the story. And while I'm not always a huge fan of narration, I kind of like the one they do in the beginning here with Baldy. I guess his name's Adam, actually, Adam Enns or something like that. I'm still going to call him Baldy. But giving that kind of summation, like, we're all messed up and people are leaving and we're doing this and these are things going on. And I don't, because even though we've watched the show, it's like that is sort of a natural summation of this guy trying to give, or servant synth, to Boy Kavalier, like the status of the reality of what's going on, but it serves as a quick catch up for everybody else. Narration is often easily overused. I think it works really well here. And yeah, so we know Morrow's cut the cobules, Yutani has blocked the satellites, everyone else is gone, so we don't have to worry about a lot of bodies. There's still soldiers around, the kids are holding, and Kavalier is just eyeing the eyeball. Which he did not get, but honestly, where the eye goes is awesome. So I don't know. Anything from those points, or I'm just kind of like, I don't want to just talk about, then they did this thing, and then they did this thing, and yeah. Sorry. Bill Casey in the chat, crabs are the real monsters. And that's true. Also delicious.
I loved that. I mean, it's sitting there like, this is my meat. And the alien just walks off like, and I loved all of that. I love that we see him on the beach knowing that this is going to get called back in some fashion. And the narration, great. And I love how we're setting up, like, we've got our 5 lost boys and girls in one spot, as they now decide that we're going to start messing with everybody here. And Essie, or is that her name? No. I think I'm confusing the actress's name maybe with the character's name.
Which one? We got Nibs, Jane.
Essie, Arthur's wife, the scientist.
Dame Sylvia.
Going out to the graves and just talking about, you're just all having, growing pains, and then it's right behind her, and just that kind of, she just kind of gives in that moment, like she's prepared to die, and then doesn't. I'm glad she didn't there. I'm glad that they ran it off, because it's, as much as this is like showing like how much Boy Kavalier is not Peter Pan, and that it is though kind of vibing with the whole feeling of Peter Pan, which is like, screw the adults.
Right.
You guys are messing everything up. And you really did just kill 6 kids. You made something else. We are something else. Our maybe in our bones, our how we started, where our blueprints are those kids. And maybe there is a part of them still in there. But now they are more than that. And it's time to punish the adults. Now, how far they're going to go with all that is, I think, going to be the big crux for season 2 of like,
Right.
how far into becoming bad themselves are they going to go? And I think that's probably first in Joe's mind too. Also, just to think how much of my sister, when we've talked about this, how much of my sister is left.
Right.
Stinger Bees, glad you made the stream this week. I think this is the first time in our chat. So
yeah, it's been a while. No, this is nice, and I like the Sylvia and the kids scenes back to back, because it really is within the two of those the transition for these children, because Sylvia is acknowledging their graves. You know, in a way, there's an acknowledgement that these kids are dead. And then we get over to the scene with the kids all together, and they're talking about who they are, and Wendy kind of is like bringing up that, no, we're not the same thing. Again, she is realizing that transition that they are making. You know, we were these kids, but we're not the same thing anymore. I mean, what as you mentioned is that is Curly's going off, still pretending and thinking that she's the favorite, and Wendy's like, no, Wendy was the favorite, but she grew up, and so Peter kidnapped her daughter Jane, which is great because that's Curly's actual last name, and I think that becomes that again, that thing of the growing up and the transition, and them acknowledging what their actual names were, and that Isaac's name was Stephen, as his family called him Steve-O. This is them going from the kids they are into, well, again, not quite adults, not quite since. I love it. We are ghosts.
The rebellious phase.
Yeah. And what do ghosts do? They haunt houses. It's time they should be afraid of us. Once they realize what their actual power is, you're right. It opens the doors to them. And, you know, I guess it's the question of who are the real monsters. But ultimately, I think what we get from Wendy's discussion with Joe later on is the ones that we think are the monsters are at least clear on their purpose. What is it that Burke always says was stuck in my mind, or that Ripley said to Burke? At least they're not screwing each other over for a percentage.
Yeah.
There's an honesty, at least, in that existence, as horrible as it might be.
And I know that I'm doing one of those, but like, I'm pretty sure I've brought that up on a couple of occasions on here, of like the honesty of nature, the honesty of the animals. They're monsters. They kill us. They hunt us. But that's what animals do. They're not. There's no intent. It's just survival for them, and we're the ones who do things with intent to do harm. We think about it. There are people that do things without thinking, but a lot of things that we do to each other are self-centered and thought over because it's what's best for each individual and not the whole. You know, the aliens are working together to keep going. Yeah. You know, it's just what they do. And I really like that we got this scene with the kids, a couple of these scenes where they are confronting who they are, and what they've done since they've become this, and they need to, like, I like Curly's kind of the focus of this, of like, we have to grow up. You have to stop thinking like this. We are not kids. And each one of them is going to be able to use these things that have happened to him. Nips will be able to channel hopefully in control eventually the rage of what has been done to her in the past.
Sure.
You know, she's taking more. She is not a victim now, which when she was before, she might be taking it too far.
Always the line, always the character question.
And Curly, now Jane, she realizes she's been used by this guy, but that doesn't mean that who she is and who she thinks she is and what she wants, what she wanted before he started manipulating her, can't still be. She wanted to be all these things. She has all these ideas. That doesn't mean that they aren't valid anymore. It means they're hers and she's got agency. She's not under this guy's thumb anymore. She's woken up to it slightly. Is realizing what's been done to him. Shmi telling him, kind of being his Jiminy Cricket, his conscience, of like, we did this and it maybe not our fault, but there's this kind of feeling of
there's a little tension there. Yeah.
We still have to be better than this. Mm-hmm. And Wendy, Marcy, having to deal with her feelings about her brother and who she is and who he thinks she is and who she thinks he is, and the whole reason he's there and their relationship going forward. I think it's just all really fantastic. And this really shows how good the actors can be outside of the events that were leading up to this.
Right. Well, and they really do a nice focus on family here, because the Lost Boys are effectively a family. And when Wendy is looking for and they find Joe, I love Smee coming up and is like, so you're going to forgive him? Well, he attacked Nibs. Yeah, but Nibs killed somebody. Well, but he made a choice. Yeah, but he's one of us. And then just gives her that hug and walks away. It's such a simplistic, childlike approach, but it's perfect for the characters. And again, it simplifies their direction. And I love that when they do meet finally and have that conversation, the first thing that Joe says is, I'm sorry about Nibs. They immediately approach it. They don't dance around. They do the back and forth. And yeah, maybe from Joe's point, it's complicated. I'm not saying that they're better. I'm not doing this. And in fact, I think that is it lays the ground for the interesting stories that can happen in season 2. Is the power of Wendy in this is the simple way that she sees things. The fault in that is the simple way that she sees things. Because when Joe says that it's complicated, it is. There are complicated emotions. And yeah, you can simplify a lot of that desires, but that's, again, only if you can keep your life simple. It can rarely stay that way. And I think that will be the interesting challenges that hopefully will be meeting the Lost Boys next. Is, again, I know I'm jumping around, but once we get in these chains of plot,
no, that's how we do.
The fact that at the end, it's like, we rule. They have embraced their power, their potential of selves, thinking that they are now above. And that's always where the danger is. Because if we remember back to Legion, David Haller was awesome and he was sweet and a wonderful person, but eventually he became the villain because he didn't appreciate the power of his power. He didn't have that empathy and compassion. And I think that's going to be Joe's role with the group moving on is, yes, you can exercise your power, but like Joe said, the moment he got released from the jail cell, I'm going to save as many people as I can. And that would be to me, is going to be the interesting dynamic going forward. And they lay a lot of those ground rules right here.
Yep. And the whole part that where he's talking about it's complicated, and she says that's what people powerless people say to make excuses for not doing anything.
Yeah, that's right.
They're both right.
They are,
and it's just like, but she hasn't seen what he's seen, and he hasn't, that because I do that myself. I will break something down. I can make things very complicated. We can have these really intense, like in-depth conversations like we're having now. And then there's other times where I will just go, but in the end, it is this.
Right.
And I will simplify it down to its purest form. And people still have a hard time with that because it's like it can be both. It's just the fact that when you make it that simple, you have to also acknowledge the consequences and the things that go all that I'm trying to think of the word that like spider web, like that go outwards from it, that each choice creates another thing that happens, so it's like when we think about our own world, right? Like there's certain things that people do. There's something that somebody did thinking probably this would solve some things, when all it did, and it might have solved one thing, but it went out and burst and created a whole bunch of other things.
Well, it's like Martin Riggs says in Lethal Weapon, I don't make life complicated. That's the way things get, all by themselves.
Yeah. And so, or why are we all sitting around while all of this happens? And people are, it's, the fear of those things, and it's all really, there's Wendy is now in that phase where she's going to have to learn some lessons.
Yeah.
And like
just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do something.
Yeah. And even though like what she can do is amazing, when she goes in and rescues her brother from the eye thing, because we've talked about a lot of different things on this show. We've said maybe this, maybe that, maybe this. I'm not 100% sure. I thought that Adam was a synth already. I might have said it in some other video we made.
Yeah.
But as soon as he said, "Oh, and I made a synth," I went, "It's the bald guy."
Yeah.
It's him. Distinguished. He said distinguished. He's bald. That's why because he, like, a kid might not even think about putting hair on, you know what I mean? Like the whole design of the guy. And when she says no, I literally went, oh, like, oh my God.
Honestly, that whole scene was full of wonderful stuff, because once he walks into that room and you see the sheep, I'm yelling at my TV, get in the box, get in the box, get in the box.
So was I.
And then he gets in the box. I'm like, thank you. Now, and I love that the eye roll is like, oh, I'll find the feeding thing to get in, and outsmarts him. And sure, would I have loved for him to close the door behind him when he gets out? But you're being chased. You don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I got no problem. But yeah, I mean, it was just, again, there are just so many of these moments that are just like simple, smart, direct. Him jumping the box, him apologizing for Nibs as soon as he sees his sister because he knows she was so upset about that. I mean, all of these things are like great. And you're right. The stop, and then you're like, oh, she just leveled up. But what does she say? He's mechanical. He's connected to a network, so I can control him. I mean, Ghost in the Machine for sure. I love because they mention ghosts. And she's like, yeah. And she immediately gets in. She starts haunting Dame Sylvia with the little videos of the past.
The elevator was literally like a scene from that X-Files episode, The Ghost in the Machine, where the guy gets in the elevator and it's like going down. Whoa, like.
Well, and I'm laughing my ass off. I'm like, why is there a self-destruct mechanism in the elevator? And I'm like, there doesn't have to be. She's just fucking with him. That's awesome.
Like all the things that she can do, and I just.
Well, and like the door coming off with Isaac being the instigating incident from which everything else kind of cascades from. This is the same thing. As soon as she realizes, like, we're going to deal with this ourselves, she gets in the machine and she starts everything. The communication loss, turning off the cameras, causing Boy Kavalier to panic, isolating everybody. And And I love just Kirsch messing with him. You're being emotional. Don't be emotional. Be smart. And then Kavalier getting all upset with him because he's talking back to, I mean, again, it's just, and he drops the ADHD line right there, which perfectly is like, oh, okay, now I know the rest about Boy Kavalier that I needed to know. Perfect character touch. But yeah, I love the elevator bit in the self-destruct. Unlocking the doors to let Morrow and them out. And that, of course, leads to the big fight between Morrow and Kirsch, which we've been waiting for. And you're right. Great fight, but also very superhero-y. But again,
it was a wrestling match. You know, it's like one guy's up and and then he flips it. You know, he gets on top, and then they're both down.
But it was a result of the gunshot letting loose the creature, which creates the distraction that allows them to go on. Which again, it's just these are really nice cause effect sequence of events that work beautifully. You can tell when they seem completely contrived and stuff made up or overly stupid. And again, I'll go back to episode 5. Too many multiple mistakes in order for these creatures to be able to get out. Much better both here and last one, because one thing happens that they can take advantage of, and that causes the whole sequence to fall apart.
Yeah, and it did give us the John Henry speech.
That was nice.
Like, didn't he die of exhaustion? No. Upside down, spitting.
Shut up about that part of the story.
I'm gonna quickly. I know this is gonna be weird, but I'm gonna quickly leave the studio and come right back in. I'll be right back.
All right. I will move on with other fun stuff here. Yeah, I have the same thing with the fight between the two of them. Shot released the plant, which becomes another very interesting bit because it's not totally a plant because it can crawl around. Which, I mean, alien, sure, it's a mobile plant. Is it a plant or is it a creature that hides as a plant? Maybe is more of the thing. It's deadly. It's dangerous. Actually reminds me of here's a flashback for you folks. Reminds me of Beastmaster. If you have ever seen that, there's the flying creatures that envelop people and suck up all of their life and then drop out little skeletons. That's what it reminded me of.
Are you talking about the plant?
The plant creature, yeah.
Yeah, that was really dope. Just like seeing it on the wall, knowing that that's what it is, and that what really is that? Is this a plant? Is this an animal that looks like a plant, or is this just some plant that we have no way of like understanding its biology yet? Like it was
still able to give us surprises in the 8th episode. I love it. Yeah.
It was really cool. And it was very much a horror movie moment. The whole practically looking at the camera as she's giving into her fate, as it's just, what do I do? Like, I'm fucked. I kind of wish that we had seen it drop her though, so we would know like what did it just like crunch on her head. I know I'm getting morbid here, but I don't care. It's just,
no.
These are the first times we're seeing this thing in action, so I want to see what kind of devastation it can cause. Just like the flies with Isaac, or the blood bugs that are way smarter than regular bugs.
Well, and speaking of surprised looks on the face, the money shot where Boy Kavalier is talking shit to all the Lost Boys, and Wendy just opens the door without even moving. Oh, yeah? Why don't you tell us?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just awesome. Again, it was that perfect thing of she's in complete control, and he's totally out of his depth, and he still thinks that he can recover from that. Unfortunately, so does the guard, which Nibs quickly dispatches.
Well,
Nibs is going to be my favorite little murder bot now.
I mean, he comes in there and he's telling them, "You're the floor model. You are just what we said."
Oh
Like
yeah.
he's digging his own grave with these kids. Like his hubris knows no bounds. I mean, even later he's skipping. He's doing a little flitting around
Oh yeah,
while
because he's
the
rich.
alarms are,
$1 million to whoever finds me first. La, la, la.
like he does not get the danger he's really in until the end.
Right.
I mean, he didn't even get it when the alien was behind him. He didn't get it when Joe kicks him in the face after he doesn't die and he pisses himself.
I
He
know.
still doesn't get it. It is
I
not
pissed
until
myself.
he is tied up in the Jesus Christ pose and then gets told some things about himself to his face that he finally realizes. And then no one can come to rescue him when his only response is, "Oh shit."
Yeah. Oh no, and it's a perfect takedown. And yeah, as Bill's mentioning in chat, you gonna let her talk to me like that? Sorry, Adam can't move. He can't do anything unless Wendy says that he can. So yeah, it's an immediately move. It's like not only you've been taken down from a physical, your whole persona has just been laid bare. And she's totally right. He is the person who was never a kid but was always an adult and just wanted to be mean to everyone, just like his dad. I'm not my dad. No.
Yeah, it's like a nice speech. Yeah, like he thinks he's saying something earlier. My dad did this, and my dad did, and then I killed him.
Mm-hmm.
As if, again, the Peter Pan thing of like getting rid of all the adults, and I did this stuff before I was a blah blah blah, and it's like you are missing the whole point of like your whole everything that happened to you. You just let that make you him.
Yeah.
Instead of becoming better than him, like having a chance to use your abilities that you have. Because I mean, he created something. It's we've joked about it about him getting rich off of other ideas off of other people, but like he still did build something. Like even like people like Elon Musk started somewhere where they could have been of benefit to mankind, and
Sure.
instead they just think the world's their playground to fuck with other people's lives.
You can use your knowledge and power for good, but having knowledge and power does not make you good. Quite the opposite. Yeah. And the fact that we leave with that and Wendy has the "we rule," I think in a way might set up that that's going to be the challenge that they themselves will face. Will you be able to actually move ahead of your past and not just hate your dad, hate everybody because you hate your dad, hate humanity because you think that they're all going to be just like these people and not, well, more like Joe? And again, I think of Legion. It's like the fact that I know that he can take great, positive, heroic characters that we love and adore and want the best for and turn them into the villain that we know has to be dispatched at the end, I think is great because it really gives me faith that there are multiple possibilities of where they can go with this. And again, because everyone's alive, what we got? Yutani coming to show up, the invasion happening. So do they pick it up from there or do they escape? And the note is Yutani found these guys all tied up in a cell and everything else was gone, including the eye, who's in Arthur by the end, which is a great shot. And look, my big question is, how much degradation has happened in the body? How much can he access Arthur's memory? Because, of course, Arthur helped create the hybrids. So he would know all about them. And that could give a whole wealth of information, but I don't know how much of that's actually accessible because he's been dead on the beach for at least 12 hours, 10 hours, several hours, we will say. I don't know how fast give us time, so we always got to kind of guess. But
well,
yeah, I mean,
Morrow probably had a certain amount of time to do what he had to do, and there were probably ships off the offshore, who knows how far off, because he had to get there somehow. He didn't just swim all the way there.
right.
So there's probably like some sort of time where they're going to be called out, and when he misses his deadline, because she's, he's like said, I'm going to get this done. It hasn't been done.
We saw all the planes coming in, so it is pretty. I mean, it's like that is feeling like this is the next thing that's about to happen. So yeah, I think there's a lot in those possibilities to go.
And that's why I picked the 5 against 1 symbol from Pearl Jam, because once they hit that beat, that bow, like, oh man, I was like 5 against 1. There's 5 there's 5 of the hybrids against 1. Like, basically, to me, the 1 is like Boy Kavalier in a way, but like adults. And this whole situation, I just thought that was a perfect musical choice, because it's also, I'd rather be with an animal. And when you see the alien with the other alien,
the other little alien buddy there
off of it, I just I don't care anymore about some of the things that I was griping about. When I rewatched this, I won't be sitting there going, oh, the thing with Slightly and everything, because Slightly gets his revenge. He's like, I didn't do anything to your mother. Bam, right in the face. Like,
and I totally thought he killed him. I was glad that Morrow wasn't dead, because I was very sure that Slightly just like crushed his skull.
Babusi is given one of the best performances. I'm glad he's still around. It's like one of those shows where it's like Alex Krycek on the X-Files. Like, he's the guy that you like hate, but you don't ever want to. He's the guy you love to hate, and you don't want to actually see him die. You just want to see him get his comeuppance. You want to see him, rise up to get knocked down again. Like, you want him.
You don't really want to see him win, but you don't really want to see him lose.
Yeah, because you're having too much fun watching the character. And Stinger B's asking if we think there'll be a season 2. After everything we had said earlier, I do think that there'll be a season 2.
Yeah, I'm.
It's just a matter of when.
Very confident with everything else, just because it's gotten a lot of critical. It's got great critical reception. It's got great audience reception. And again, like I said, I think that the head of FX programming was very bullish on this show even before it premiered. So I think they see the possibilities. And they also, I think, honestly, it's the only place right now where this franchise can go. Every other attempt has failed, and this has not. So I can't see them dropping this.
Plus, what I had talked about with the Marvel comics is that Marvel's been doing a big push with Predator and Alien in the comics. They've kind of backed off a little bit on Alien and have given the Predator a little more focus. But both things have been getting a good resurgence because of, I think, what started in the comics and getting ideas flowing. And now we got new Predator stuff. That animated Predator movie was awesome. What they're planning on doing with Predator Badlands looks awesome. This is awesome. I feel like there's actually more to be excited about with the Alien and Predator franchises than really Marvel right now, in my opinion. Marvel is throwing tentpole things and another Spider-Man movie at us in a little while, but I haven't been that excited for that. But I've never really been a massive Alien or Predator fan, and guess what? I am now.
Oh yeah,
I have been over the last year or so after reading Wolverine versus Predator and watching the Predator cartoon or animated movie, and and other Predator stuff. And I read the first couple of series of the Alien book in Marvel, liking that a lot. So there's a lot to be excited about, I think. And I think the momentum will be where this is the only place for it to go.
Yeah.
Right. Sigourney Weaver's not going to do another Alien movie, really. Right. Who knows?
Hey,
never say never. Never say never. She looks great for her age, but I don't want that. I don't want them to keep going down that road of like the never-ending nostalgia. We got to keep bringing back the old. It's time to move forward. We can go backwards in time like this show's doing, but still move forward story-wise and do things we haven't seen or done before. This show is showing us stuff from that we didn't, like it didn't exist before, but they're saying it did. Like we're rewriting and adding new things that could be canon, might not be, I guess not. It's canon, but not necessarily adding to the old canon. It's making its own canon almost, which I'm fine with.
It's building in the empty spots of the world that they left, as opposed to just rehashing what they have. I mean, to me, if you're gonna try and bring back Sigourney Weaver for an Alien, the only way to do it is do it like what's his name from District 9 was going to do, and you cut everything after Aliens, and you do a 20 years later or 30 years later that has Sigourney Weaver and Michael Biehn back, and maybe an old Newt or something had happened to them. And to me, that's the only way you could do it, because the fact that you killed Michael Biehn just annoyed out of me for Alien 3. And if you're going to do it, to me, that would be the only way to. Otherwise, no, man, look, FX has revitalized both of these franchises between Dan Trachtenberg's Prey, which brought Predator back in a big way. And he's the guy that's doing both the animated film and Predator Badlands. And then you got Noah Hawley here taking over Alien and really building the world. And I think that's what they both did. They both built new worlds with these characters to go off on, as opposed to just rehashing and remaking the old stuff over and over again. I know I've said it a bunch of times, but I'll say it again. That's another reason why episode 5 pissed me off so much, is it was just a rehash of shit that was done old, when the rest of the series is doing something new with it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised, and it might not be what anybody wants, but you could even bring in Ripley's daughter, who you could take from her Alien Isolation game that was out a while ago.
Okay. I've started it. I haven't finished it yet. So,
I can't get past any of that, because I think I made it just far enough to be mad that the alien's still getting me, and I'm just like, I'm done. But I think that there's something to be, possibly you could maybe adapt that and have her introduced into it if we have to. If people want to hear about the possibilities of adding familiar things, I think that you could have her show up in some capacity of I know what this did to my mom, in a time jump or something. I don't know, but I don't care about any of that. What I care about is them moving this story forward. And any of all that nostalgia and old stuff can
move past, move on.
Can be where it is. You like Alien, watch Alien another million times. You love Aliens, watch it another million times. You even like Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection or Predator versus Alien versus Predator Requiem, which we all know isn't very good. But I mean, if you like it, good. Like what you like. But these kind of things only get better when they're allowed to progress and not stay stagnant in nostalgia.
Yeah. And on that, Stinger B, totally agree. In my opinion, the Alien Predator franchises do best when they are mutually exclusive. I agree. I think they are both fascinating, and it is better to explore those worlds alone. It's just, you just start turning into mishmashes of stuff. And I think that ends up detracting than building. Again, Godzilla movies are great. Even King Kong movies are great. But you do King Kong versus Godzilla, now every movie has to have both of them.
Yes. But if what we've seen, though, is there in the past with the Alien Predator thing, it didn't do well. It didn't go well because you had people that weren't talented.
Oh, they
at
were
making
awful
that
movies.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff. We have really talented people that actually care about this stuff that could possibly make this work, but they have to let it breathe on its own. They have to let them build up to something like that. It has to be an Avengers Endgame type of deal almost.
Yeah.
We have to let these things flourish on their own before you start messing with bringing them together again.
And as I've said before, I
Because it's
love
gonna happen.
Crow. I have no problem being wrong. Give me something that is surprising, and I will take everything I said back. But until then, yeah, I agree. I think they need to breathe on their own for a little while before you worry about mashups and crossovers and things like that. Well, I think I got through my whole list of notes here.
No, we did it.
Yeah. Wow. Still under an hour. Woohoo!
Under an hour.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, can't wait until season 2. I am very depressed that it will be a year and a half or 2 years probably until we see it. I think if they are going to do it, they should do a couple of seasons kind of back to back. And then, they can let those out, and then Hawley can go do season 6 of Fargo or whatever that he wants to do. But no, I think it would be very stupid for Disney to not take advantage of what the groundwork that their show has laid.
Yep.
And yeah, well, I think that's it. Any other final thoughts or things before we wrap stuff up here, Rob?
No, I'm just trying not to sing Pearl Jam lyrics right now.
It is hard. It is
1,
hard.
2, 3, 4, 5 against 1, 5, 5 against 1. Love it.
Yeah. Well, this is going to signal the end, obvious of this. I don't have anything scheduled for D's reviews for a little while, so things might be a little quiet out here, but that does not mean that you are not going to be getting more content. No, because we've got a new pod coming up, The Outer Rim. It's going to probably debut over on Smirking Gun initially. I think we're getting our own channel set up for it, so keep an eye on things. We'll do notifications. But yeah, this is going to be, we're moving past pop culture. We're talking life, politics, art, things that interest us. It's going to be a much wider, tackling a lot more serious subjects and things like that. So keep your eyes open for The Outer Rim. It will be coming to a YouTube near you. In the meantime, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notifications bells, not only here, but over on Smirking Gun Reviews, so you can hear all of that and not miss one bit of content and exciting discussions that we have coming your way.
One last thing with Stinger asking if we're going to collab in any other sci-fi shows and stuff. Look, there's stuff that I would love to talk about with Darren. We just have to figure out when to do it, our schedules and stuff, because we are wanting to get this podcast going. But there are shows that like he's watching, that I'm watching, that I would definitely love to talk to him about, especially like Foundation. I think would be a great show to talk about together. But we have to figure out the time and things like that. So
yeah,
keep a lookout on both our channels for content, especially mine. I have a feeling there's going to be some stuff coming, and we've got our Big Trouble in Little China video that we should just do. We should just fucking do it. It really wouldn't take us anything to do it. We just have to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a bunch of stuff that we have either planned, in process, and so on. So yeah, keep an eye on both these channels. We'll drop notifications when things are coming on, and we look forward to seeing you guys with more videos.
Yeah.
All right. So, as always, folks, so long, take care, and as usual, watch out for those Nazis.
5 against 1.